Okay, for the first dynamic stretch, we're going to be coming down into some deep lunges. Finish up with your last lunge and then stand up straight, and we're going to go into some leg swings on our right leg. Now get ready to switch those legs over. Now let's warm up those arms. So what you're going to do, fold from the hips and walk forward so that you're in a plank position, and then come back to your feet and stand up and repeat. Now just an extra option, when you are down into that plank position, feel free to add in a push-up. Change it up. So walk on down, and then we're going to go into a downward dog position, pushing our head through our arms, and then leaning into a plank, pushing down into a downward dog position and then into your plank, just rolling those shoulders over your wrists. Now we're going to bring our lunges back. So your left foot's going to come by your left arm, bring it back, and then switch it over with your right leg. Now we're going to keep a similar sequence, however this time we're going to activate our core. So downward dog, bring that left knee forward. Downward dog, right knee forward. Let's finish off with our last downward dog, and then you're going to go back into your plank position, lower yourself down and push up into cobra. From cobra we're going to go into our child's pose, so pushing our bottoms back. next sequence, we're going to be going through the cat and cow pose. Retract your shoulders and draw your belly button down to create a slight bend in your back, and then raise up your right leg, and we're going to do some leg pulses here while emphasizing the bend in our back. Come down into your child's pose, and this is going to be your resting position. And come back up, and we're going to repeat the same thing on our left side. Now come back down into your child's pose, and then we're going to repeat the same thing on our right and left side. However, this time we're going to try and get our feet a little closer to our head by bending our legs. Back down into child's pose and rest your forehead on the floor. You're going to bring your arms around behind your back, and then we're going to pulse up. Now come up onto your knees, and then we're going to create a bend in our back. Then protract our shoulders over. So when you're bending your back, make sure that you're sticking your bum out and also bringing those shoulders back. And then when you're protracting, bring those shoulders forward and then tuck your hips. Okay, now stand up, and we're going to stretch out our side obliques starting on our right side, and then we're going to switch it over to our left side. Now each time you swap sides, try and slide that hand down a little bit lower each time. Now it is really important that when you are stretching that your muscles are still staying active. So in order to test this, lift up your bottom arm and try and hold yourself there, just using your side obliques. Okay, next up, we're going to do what we were doing on our knees just before. So retracting the shoulders and then protracting. So creating a slight bend and then bringing your shoulders forward. We're doing this because next up, what we're going to do is when we're coming down to the side, we're going to try and grab a hold of our opposite leg to bend back. We're then going to try and do the same thing, same side, come back to center, and then we're going to go back the opposite way another 2 times. Now once you've evened out both sides of your back, grab your elbows, and then we're just going to shift side to side and stretch out our hamstrings. Now lean over to your left ankle, and we're going to hold here a little bit longer, really focusing on our left hamstring. And then switch it over to your right hamstring. Then come to center, grab a seat, and we're going to move on with our next sequence. And now we're going to work on stretching out our necks, which is often forgotten, but is really important when it comes to back flexibility. So we're just going to rotate our heads to our right side before moving on to our left side. Then we're going to bring our heads back before coming forward. Now when your head's rotated to the right side, for a deeper stretch, grab your head and look towards your armpit. And you can do the same thing on this side as well. Grab your head and then look towards your armpit. And then bring your head back and forward once again. Now let's loosen up those shoulders. We're just going to roll our shoulders back. Then clasp your hands together behind you and lift up. And then we're going to repeat our neck stretching sequence once again. Bring your head back, forward, now roll your shoulders back, clasp your hands together and pulse. Do the sequence one more time, so head to your left side, draw your head down to your armpit, and right side, head back, forward, roll those shoulders back, and hands behind and pulse. Okay, now that we've stretched out our shoulders quite a bit, what I want you to do is place your palms down behind you, and we're going to go into tabletop. So we're going to lift our bottoms off the ground and come back down, lifting up and coming back down. As you do this, make sure you're either looking behind you or to the ceiling so that your neck is in line with your spine. Okay, now we're going to do this one more time before moving on to our next progression, which is lifting up our right arm. Coming back down, and then if you're feeling up to it, lifting up your left arm as well. Okay, now the sequence here, if you are able, come up into a normal tabletop, then raise your right arm up, come back down, normal tabletop, and then lifting your left arm up. Okay, now come back up onto your knees. What we're going to do is one of the stretches that we did previously, but we're going to add in a bit of a progression. So this is the one where you're going to create a bend in your back, bringing those shoulders behind, and just make sure you're looking back as well so that your neck stays in line with your spine. Okay, so the next progression is to bring your arms by your ears and then come back down to center. So what you'll find is that you may lose a little bit of balance, so you're just trying to regain some control. next up, we're going to try and grab our ankle. So we're going to begin with our left side. So we're going to slide our left arm to our left ankle, and then we're going to do the same on our right side. And if you're feeling up to it, you can try doing this with both arms, so sliding both arms down. As you keep progressing into the stretch, what you can do is next time try and bring your hands a little more closer to your knees. Okay, so next up we've got pigeon pose, which is usually a glute stretch, but since we're working on our back here, it's completely fine if you don't have your leg coming out to a 90-degree angle. What you're going to do is just bring your neck behind and slowly bend your back. And of course, eventually, if you become more flexible and you're able to, you can bring your leg up. Okay, now let's do the same thing on our other side. So just bringing your left leg in front and switching your right leg to behind. Move on down so that you're laying on your stomach, and we're going to focus on stretching out our upper back. So bring your forearms down to the ground and just make sure you're actively bringing your shoulders back. Now come on up onto your hands and straighten those arms, and just make sure that you're looking back so that your neck is in line with your spine. Okay, now we're going to repeat that once again. So come down onto your forearms, and then we're going to work our upper back and then move on up to our lower back. Now keep pushing yourself in this stretch. The closer your hands are to your body, the more of a bend you're going to get. And eventually, when you come into the stretch deep enough, you'll be able to just lift up your legs easily. Okay, and come on down and push back into child's pose, your resting position. Now bring your arms forward, and what you're going to do is try and get your chest flat to the ground. Then from here, push onto your forearms and lift your shoulders up so that they're above your elbows. Push back, and we're going to repeat. inside of your foot and wrap your fingers around the outside and try and lift up here. If you're unable to do this with both legs, try with one leg at a time. Now the idea here is to lift up your leg with height. Okay, now that we've done all those back stretches, hopefully you're ready to attempt a back bend. So lay down on your back, have your feet flat down and your hands just by your head. And you're going to push up onto your heels, and then you're going to push your chest through your arms and just pretend that you have a wall in front of your chest. So you're trying to get your chest flat on the wall. Okay, now bring yourself down nice and slowly. We're going to finish off by doing some inverse rolling just to loosen up all the tension that we built up. And you're done. So well done for completing this stretch routine. Hopefully you're feeling more flexible and bendier. Just remember, if you continue to do these stretches, then you can only get better.